All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome
Hey.
to Through the Garden. Today is April 17th, 2024, the year of our Lord. And the Chicago Cubs are a very dangerous baseball team, boys. They're not even healthy, and they're the most dangerous baseball team I've ever seen in my life.
They're dangerous for our health, too.
I was about to say,
Yeah, they
I
are.
think they're more so
Yeah.
dangerous for our
Yeah.
health. But,
My blood pressure does, I
Yeah.
love watching the team. My blood pressure does not.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a roller coaster ride for sure, what we got going on here in the Chicagos. But we're here nonetheless. Tommy, Jordan, Alex, we're here.
Hey.
We're here to talk Chicago sports. We're going to get national too at some point because there's a lot going on in the world of sports. But we need to start with the Chicago Cubs because there were a lot of things that happened in a short amount of time. We all wanted a winning road trip. We just wanted a 500 road trip, really. We got a winning road trip. We were 5-4. Lost 2 of 3 to the Padres, but took 2 of 3 in Seattle, took 2 of 3 in Phoenix. Coming home for 4 against the Marlins. You really can't ask for much more than what we got.
Yeah, it was especially the past 2 series against Seattle and Arizona. A lot of things did not go the Cubs' way in each of those series, so it's nice to see them bounce back and win each take 2 out of 3 because that's what winning teams do. And we're already seeing the difference this season from last season. Is I think those games over the past 6 that the Cubs would have lost last year that they won this year. I think today's game is a perfect example of that, and we'll get into it because of how Council is not only managing the lineup but also the pitching staff.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this past road trip, and I kind of broke it down this way. I tweeted this out, and I'll break it down again. So you had 5 wins, 4 losses, 3 just really rock solid good wins, 2 that you say, man, we were kind of lucky to come away with that. And then you had 2 just gut wrenching, awful, brutal, puke inducing losses. And then 2 just you lost, just old L's. And you can kind of even out some of the goods and some of the bads. And like, hey, this road trip, I mean, you can both say it could have gone better, but it could have gone worse. I mean, truly, because there were a few games in there where you really could have easily given it away, especially that finale against the Seattle Mariners when you walk like the first 2 guys in like the 7th or 8th inning, and then you got to pick off to win the game. Could have easily lost that one. And you could have easily lost the opener against Arizona, and you got the wild pitch. The catcher didn't know where it was, and Nico was able to score. That, to me, that win, the opening win in Arizona was so satisfying because we got swept there last year, right? We remember that. It was in a key point in September. And then you steal one there after it really felt like they stole several games from you last year, and it guaranteed you weren't going to get swept there. And after winning the series today, I can easier look back at last night's loss and say, okay, you won a game you should have lost. You lost the game you should have won. We can call it a wash. And then you take the rubber match and you win the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't have said it any better because, look, we know where the weaknesses are. Kyle Hendricks is a weakness. It is what it is.
Yes.
That's just how it is. The bullpen, not great right now. It's terrible. But today was April 17th. It was the 17th game of the season. There's so much baseball to be played. And all that I am taking away right now through the first 17 games is there is just such a different level of managerial decisions that are being made than we have seen in a very, very long time. Craig Counsell is out here to win. He is doing things with this lineup and with what he's got going on. He's trying to win. He's trying to win every single day. And it's not going to work every day. You can't go 162-0. It's physically impossible.
Yeah, and
But
I mean,
he's doing his best to win 162 games.
I agree. And there are, arguments to be had. Like, I think Craig Counsell got a lot of heat yesterday for putting Kyle Hendricks out there in the 5th inning. But here's the thing, like, this bullpen is pitching 5+ innings every single day.
Right.
Sometimes you just need to have your veteran pitcher eat you some innings. I mean, listen, if this was a scenario where over the past few days, starters went 6 or 7 innings and the bullpen was more well rested, okay, then I think Council would make that earlier move because he'd be aware of the situation. He would make an earlier move to the bullpen, but you just needed some innings, as many as you could. And then it got to the point where you just couldn't get any more. And keeping in mind that when you brought in Luke Little, well, Keegan Thompson was shoving the last few days when he came back up, but he wasn't available. And it was
Right.
too early to go to Mark Leiter Jr., honestly. So you kind of have to just sometimes go with what you have, and it doesn't always work, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's I don't know. I have mixed emotions right now because I'm so excited about this team. I feel like we're not even healthy yet. Tyone's coming back tomorrow. Steele is going to be coming back in May sometime. So we have those problems in the starting rotation. Kyle Hendricks can't buy a good thing to happen to him. Wicks and Kyle combined, they can't go the distance in these games. They can't get 4 or 5 innings into it, causing a ruckus in the bullpen. You're relying on Drew Smiley, who just isn't the dude, but he has to be the dude. The whole reverse is happening with this lineup because you have dudes in the pitching rotation now that you are relying, like Shota Imanaga, your 4th start. Congratulations. We got to have 6 or 7 out of you.
Yes.
Javier Assad, you're young.
Right.
We got to have 6 or 7 out of you. And there's no, you can't fall off. On the reverse, on the offensive side, 6 to 7 guys nightly are doing things that are great offensively. We're scoring runs out the wazoo, and nobody on the offensive side of the ball has to be the dude. So nobody has that pressure, and guys are just taking off, and it's going great. We saw Michael Busch have the week of his life. He didn't have to be the
looks
dude.
so
He
good.
was just, there was zero pressure for him to be the dude because he's got other guys around him that are already hitting, so he doesn't have to. My favorite thing he did this week, besides the home runs, the home runs are incredible. Today, did you notice his first at bat? They shifted on him, and
Yeah,
he
and he
laid
bunted.
down the most perfect bunt down
Yeah.
the third base line. They had zero chance at it. That was him saying, guess what? I'm going to tear you apart no matter where you're standing.
Remember when
So you
Anthony
might as
Rizzo
well
used
just
to
play
do
me
that?
straight up. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good.
Schwarber.
Yeah.
Schwarber used to do
Schwarber
that.
used to do that, sure. Hey,
Yeah.
even Ian Happ, you sometimes see him try to do that when he's batting left-handed. I think,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
was it yesterday or the first game? He had a single that was kind of in that area. So it's always good awareness when you're able to try to take advantage of a defensive alignment like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like yesterday, last night stunk, right?
Yeah.
Those are the games you
Oh, yeah.
have to have. It's
One out of way.
But the defensive falter of the Diamondbacks late in today's game, you weren't supposed. We probably weren't supposed. Like, look at the lineup out there. Mastrobuoni was in there. Talkman was in there. We weren't supposed to win this game. We did it.
Yeah.
Jordan Wicks gave us 5.
Yeah, it was a getaway day lineup, and it came through. I will say, I will push back a little bit on your offensive take. Outside of last night, the Cubs' offense has kind of gone quiet.
True. It's true.
It
and I-
has, yes.
and I think we're now in a spot where you need someone to step up because your best hitter now is probably going to be out for 5 to 6 weeks with Suzuki.
Yeah, we haven't even
going on
talked
the
about
IL.
that yet.
So I think Suzuki's hot start and Bush's hot start kind of mask the fact that Dansby has been bad. Nico is turning around the past couple games.
Big
Bellinger,
time.
Bellinger still has his 2-strike approach. He homered today, but he's been struggling. So on one hand, the offense is having good at bats. I don't want to say that they're not having good at bats. They're having phenomenal at bats. The results aren't there. So whether that's some of it is going to, regress back to the mean for the positive, they will be tested now with Seiya being out because Seiya was literally living up to the lofty expectations that the Cubs set for him during spring training. And it just sucks that it's another oblique injury. So hopefully he can come back in 6 or 4 weeks, they're hoping, and, pick up where you left off.
Yeah, that injury.
Yeah. When it
Sucks.
stunk. When I first saw it, I thought I read 4 months. And I was like,
Oh,
what?
no. Yeah, that would be.
I was
Yeah.
I would
dying.
literally
I was
sob.
like,
I
oh my
would
God.
sob in a corner and
Yeah.
cry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that stinks, but I love the Canario move. I love bringing up Canario. He's going to face 3 lefty pitchers from the Marlins in 4 games.
Let
It's
him
going to be
play.
his opportunity. Yeah, it's going to be his
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah, I think
So
the biggest thing, like Alex said, is to let him play. I wasn't really expecting him to start today, which is fine. But I think with the lefties that the Marlins have, you have perfect matchup opportunities to get his bat out there. So if there is a silver lining, it's that for the next 4 weeks, Canario should have a little bit of a runway to, establish himself at the major league level. And then if he does, that kind of shifts your roster, because if he plays to the point where he has to stay up, maybe you look at Mike Tauchman, you thank him for what he did last year, but you're like, you know what? We thank you, some of Tauchman. We appreciate all you did, but it's time to move on to Canario because we have to have that bat in the lineup.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things because Talkman and Canario are nothing alike. One is
Right.
a defensive, get on base, have a good at bat guy. The other is not known for his glove like Talkman, but he's got the power that Talkman. I mean, Talkman doesn't have zero power, but you're looking at a guy in Canario who has 20 plus home run power
Right.
in every the league he's played in. So it's kind of the slugger versus the scrappy guy. And to kind of get in another topic, this is kind of where I think you're at with Miles Mastrobuoni versus Patrick Wisdom, who has tore up in his rehab stint so far. You're kind of thinking, hey, listen, we just lost Suzuki. So what does that mean? You're losing an all-around good bat that includes power. So how do you supplement that power? I think when you look at a guy like Canario, and then if you have a Patrick Wisdom on your roster, that's as good as you can be right now in supplementing that power because Suzuki, we were looking at 30 home runs this year potentially with him.
Easily, yeah.
And he could still hit maybe 20 if he comes back. But point being is you're missing a power bat right there. So you want to supplement it somehow. And that's kind of your ways to do it right now.
Yeah. And I think with Patrick Wisdom, I know we were kind of texting about this throughout the day. I think with Patrick Wisdom, fans got exhausted last season by seeing him in the lineup as much as he was, especially after April, when his offense just fell off a cliff. You definitely have to get that out of your head when it comes to Craig Counsell, because he's going to deploy Wisdom in a spot where he's going to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Look this season to how Counsell has used Garrett Cooper so far. Garrett Cooper has been phenomenal off the bench.
Yes.
And I think we're going to see Wisdom used in a very similar role where he might go 2 to 3 days without getting a start, but then there's going to be that lefty matchup where he's in there and he makes a difference. So I think you can always have a spot on your roster for a player like Miles Mastrobuoni. Unfortunately, for reasons that he can't control, Patrick Wisdom is just a better fit for what the Cubs need right now.
Right. And I mean, you're kind of in that odd man out situation, right? Because listen, Nick Madrigal so far, and let me hear your thoughts on this, guys. I think so far Madrigal's played fine. I
he's
just
all right.
Yeah, he's been okay. I mean, he made some big defensive plays against the Dodgers. His hitting has been whatever, but I mean, Mastrobuoni's just been kind of rotting on the bench for the most part, and I think he's like
Right.
0 for 10, 0 for 11. So, and I mean, you better not get rid of Garrett Cooper. You can't.
No.
You absolutely
no.
can't
Yeah,
get rid
I
of
don't
Garrett
know.
Cooper.
I don't understand this argument of why is there an argument between Miles Mastrobuoni and Patrick Wisdom?
There shouldn't
Oh,
be.
yeah. It makes
There's
no
no
sense.
argument here. Like, what are we
and
doing?
it started because like I had posted in our Cubbies Crib channel, I think last week, about like Wisdom is probably like a week away, and someone's like, yeah, I don't think I would move Mastrobuoni off the roster for Wisdom. I'm like, you absolutely would, because we're talking about one of the final spots on the bench, and for the reasons that Alex has laid out, and you, Tommy, that Nick Madrigal is holding it down as a backup third baseman, defensive specialist for Christopher Morel. Nick
Speedy
Madrigal,
guy. Yeah.
yeah, he can also play second base. He's the exact spot that Miles Mastrobuoni would be in. You can afford to put Miles Mastrobuoni down, bring up Wisdom to have power against lefties.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, it's important now because you have to supplement the power that you no longer have for Suzuki, that you won't have for a month plus. And, keep this in mind too. When the season started, I think, okay, Miles Mastrobuoni on the roster, that makes sense. I get it. You get a bit more contact, some good, because Mastrobuoni can give you a good at bat, gives
Oh
you
yeah,
some versatility. So it made sense. But you know what? The circumstances are always changing in baseball, always. And this is
yeah,
where we are now. And I think we need the power, frankly.
agreed.
Yeah, we need the power. We need the power for sure. So he's going to be back probably sometime this weekend. Jameson
My
Tyone is
guess,
coming back tomorrow.
yeah, my guess is Wisdom probably comes back tomorrow as well. He was taken out of
Yeah.
the Iowa Cubs game in the 4th inning, but more
Yeah.
importantly, he was seen packing up his bags and taking his bats out of the Iowa Cubs lineup. So
I haven't
that would
looked.
Yeah.
I almost
I was
looked far-
hoping today was like Miles Mastrobuoni. Thank you for your service.
I know.
Here's one
Just
more
like-
start for you.
right.
Well, I haven't looked far ahead. Do you guys? Is there a lefty on the mound on Saturday?
I don't remember what
Marlins.
days there are, but it's 3 of 4 left.
I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm not sure the exact order, but I know it's 3 or 4 that the Cubs will be going up against.
Okay, so long story short, I those that ticket giveaway the Cubs had, the free tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I won 2 of them, so I
Nice.
thought, how am I going to use them? And I'll say, oh, my dad just retired and became a grandpa. Why not give him a little extra
Yeah.
gift? So,
There you
and,
go.
he's taken me to games every year. He's taken me and my brother, even though we're full grown adults. We're going to a few this year. So I'm like, you know what? I'll bring my dad to this one, free tickets, and we got good seats. So, but related
day?
to Patrick, Saturday
Okay.
afternoon.
Well,
Gonna
if
be a
you're going to
little
be in the area,
cold.
text me.
Yeah, I might. We
Yeah.
we might park by you if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Text me. Text
that
me.
that would be great. I definitely will. But point being is I've seen Patrick Wisdom homer in person maybe like 8 times. Like I've seen him
There
hit
you
like
go.
8 home runs in person. So I'm just saying.
Maybe you're the
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, I'm the guy. I've
I love it.
seen him hit a grand slam. I've seen him have multi-homer games. The one grand slam I saw, he hit it against the Reds in 2022, and that thing like went down Kenmore Avenue. That thing was crushed.
Crushed it, huh?
So maybe I'll
Yeah.
see that again this Saturday. I don't know. I wish it was last week's weather that was beyond perfect, but
it
as
was
long
so
as it's
nice.
not raining or snowing, it just might be a little cold. But
It's going to be a little windy. It's going to be a little chilly, but this is what April
we'll
baseball
dress
is at
warm.
Wrigley.
Yeah. Well, Dad and I'll dress warm. We've been to many games in many different types of weather, so we always know how to handle it.
Yeah. It'll be fun,
Honestly,
though.
with the Marlins series, I'm looking forward to Sunday's game. I want to see what Hendricks looks like at home against a struggling Marlins team. Can you bounce back? Can you get your season back on track? I know Alex has a story coming out tomorrow that goes a little bit more in detail about it, but it's getting late fast when it comes to Kyle Hendricks. And I know
Yeah.
the Cubs are touting the whole he struggles to begin the season. He has 27 more starts. That's fine. But if you're going to be the team that misses the postseason by one game again this season, is it because you gave Kyle Hendricks one too many starts?
One too many. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be. It has to be the Marlins to get him back. It has to be.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
choice. If it doesn't happen on Sunday, then we're having a big conversation next Wednesday.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even
and
say it's a big conversation. I think if he struggles Sunday, I think it's very simple. You do the good old phantom injury. I think Kyle would be down with it. He said after his start this week that he knows he's hurting the team. So I think
Yeah.
if
Phantom
Hendricks-
injury and then bullpen.
Yeah, send him to Arizona, see if he can get his mechanics right. And the issue is, unfortunately, if you put Hendricks in the bullpen, you're not really putting him in a spot to be an effective reliever. Unfortunately, for what Hendricks does, that doesn't play out of the bullpen. Yeah, to eat innings for sure, but
I think he would.
Yeah.
I think it would be like he could only pitch 2 max because
Yeah,
you can't
mhm.
let him see a lineup a second time.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
no, and it's funny you mentioned that because one thing I pointed out was if you go back his last few starts, he looks great in the first inning.
Mhm.
In
Yeah,
the
2
first inning he pitched,
strikeouts.
he looked good. Like,
Yeah.
legitimately looks good, and then things go south after that.
It
So,
goes
And
south so
yeah,
fast.
yeah,
and it was crazy
exactly.
because his start against the Diamondbacks, especially that first inning, his changeup was really diving. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is the Hendricks we needed. And then, like you said, just after the first time through, just completely went by the wayside.
Yeah, yeah. It's and the thing is, like, we can talk about, hey, remember the past, remember how much he used to struggle and that sort of thing. This doesn't feel quite like that
No,
because at
yeah,
least when
Different.
he even struggled, he can kind of grind through, like, okay, he gave up 5 runs, but he got you through 6 some innings and somewhat kept you in the game. Where, like, this just it just looks it looks different,
yeah, no,
in a
agreed.
bad way. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting. Sunday is gonna be a big, big day.
Oh
You
yeah.
And
gonna be there,
yeah,
Tommy?
I will be there. I have tickets for Friday and Sunday.
Nice.
Okay.
Saturday TBD. Tomorrow definitely not. I will be on the golf course.
Nice.
So
There you go.
yeah. Speaking of golf, Scotty Scheffler, good at golf. I don't know if you guys are Masters guys. I don't know if you're golf guys, but oh my god.
I'm not a huge golf guy. I do like watching the Masters. And honestly, someone else said this on the score. I think I realized like I was more of a Tiger Woods fan than I was a golf fan. So like watching Thursday and Friday, I was like, oh man, this is really cool. And
Yeah.
then just Saturday happened for Tiger, and it kind of was like an epiphany of like, dang, not only is Tiger getting old, but I'm getting old. Watching
Yeah.
someone
Right. Yeah.
who
Yeah.
used to be phenomenal just struggle the way that he did, and it's like, man,
Saturday
this is what
was
yeah,
sad. It was
That
very
was
yeah,
rough.
sad.
That was
yeah.
really rough. I mean,
But
seeing,
then
like, double bogeys, ugh.
yeah,
Mhm.
but then Sunday, the kid, did you see him playing with that kid?
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
graduate student at Ohio State. His caddy was a senior in high school, and they're playing
yeah,
just casual Sunday at the Masters playing with Tiger Woods. Like,
Yeah.
you
yeah,
think you had a good weekend? I promise you his weekend was better because he got to
yeah,
play at the Masters on a Sunday with Tiger Woods.
and I will say, like, I like this version of Tiger too, because he's kinda like the elder Wiseman now on the course where, like, when he was young and
Yeah,
coming up, he was brash,
he would not have
he was
talked with
brash, he
that
was
guy like he did.
standoffish,
Yeah.
and now he's kinda like talking to him. He's talking to the guys in the clubhouse, and,
Yep.
um,
Acknowledging people.
yeah, not to, like, turn it, like, somber, but this is kinda like the shift we saw with Kobe towards the end to where, like,
Sure.
Kobe shifted from being Mamba
Yeah.
mentality to this mentor, and then, unfortunately, we saw what he was doing leading up to his tragic death, and, it's just cool seeing that part of Tiger come out because for
Yeah.
so many years, he was focused on winning, winning, winning. He doesn't have that in his bag anymore, unfortunately, but he's enjoying this new version of himself. So that part is cool to see.
Yeah. Do you remember when the Kobe's team when the Lakers were so bad he was out injured and they were losing by
Oh,
like 40 and they were doing like some dance on the sideline and they showed it to him
yeah.
when he was on a talk show and then
When he
like
was
they
on
panned
Jimmy
to him and
Kimmel,
he's
yeah.
just like
Kobe was a different breed.
dude.
I was watching that. If you guys ever watch that USA documentary about the Redeem team, it was when USA was going up against Spain, and Kobe's like, "There's Paul Gasol. I want to let you know the first play of the game. I'm running right into his chest." He's like, "That's my brother. I love him on the Lakers, but I'm setting the tone early. That
Yeah.
like, hey,
Yeah.
we're here to win." And sure enough, like the play happens, Kobe, bam, right into Paul Gasol. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Classic. Yeah. He
yeah,
And
was
you
a
know what?
different beast.
You think about Kobe too, and Gigi coming up and
Mhm.
kind of getting into the conversation about the WNBA because we just
Yeah,
had the WNBA draft, and you can't help but think, like, look how great the WNBA is rising right now because of Caitlin
yeah,
Clark and Angel Reese coming to Chicago, which is going to be freaking
Yeah.
awesome. You
Caitlin
gotta
yeah.
love
who?
it.
Caitlin who?
Yo, yeah,
It's
I
all about
shifted
Angel
so
Reese.
quick on the other side of that
It's all
rivalry. I
about
was like,
Angel Reese.
Angel
yeah,
Reese, let's
And
yeah.
go.
I
I
am
was
on
a
record. I said that Camila Cardoso was a better basketball player than Caitlin Clark, and guess who we got? I
yeah,
might get season tickets to this guy. I don't know.
It's
One of my
so
best
funny.
friends is a season ticket holder. He
Yeah.
sits courtside, so,
Well,
um,
I might be joining him because
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so funny because, like, when Iowa LSU games were going on, I was like, "Ah, huge Caitlin Clark fan. Forget Angel Reese." But now that Angel Reese is with the Sky, it's like, "Hey, we
She's
don't
our
mess with
girl
Caitlin
now.
anymore." Yeah.
Yep, yep.
I'm gonna
And
turn
it's
to a
so cool.
meatball. I
Yeah, and
I
Okay.
Alex
hope I hope she just talks shit. Just talks
Oh,
shit
yeah.
and dominates.
It's gonna be
That's what I
fun.
want.
And Alex, you were talking about the boom. My friend and I were just looking like today to see, hey, what's the going price for Sky Fever games? I think the lowest price we saw was like $420. So yeah, it's definitely a boom.
I
You
won't be
love
at
to
that
see it.
game.
No, yeah, I know, neither will I, but it's gonna
My
be fun to
friend might
watch.
invite me, so I'm kinda hoping.
There
Eric, if
you
Yeah.
you're
go.
watching, you
Yeah.
wanna invite me
Well,
with,
okay.
that'd be
So
great.
we're all in an agreement that this is an Angel Reese podcast.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Angel,
Yes.
you're welcome to come
Absolutely.
on at any point.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah.
we have the biggest platform in the city. So this is where you would want to be on a sports podcast. Okay.
Well, and like, to tie that in with Kobe, which I didn't really do, I kind of got off on a tangent there, but if he was around, because he was getting very involved with the women's sports,
Mhm.
and with his daughter, going to play. Could you imagine a world where it's like, okay, here's the WNBA with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and then you got involvement with Kobe Bryant on women's
Yeah.
basketball. Just think
Yeah.
Well,
about
it was starting because the girl, um, she went to Oregon. She plays for the New York
Oh,
team now.
um
Sabrina,
the one
yes,
that was
maybe.
against
yes,
Steph, right? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. She
yes,
had a
yes,
relationship with Kobe.
yes,
Yeah. Mhm.
So it was starting. It was
yes.
happening.
Yeah. Yeah, and so yeah, it is sad that you kinda can't see it, but I mean, it is super cool to see the WNBA rise like it has. I mean, for the first time ever, I was made plans around watching the WNBA draft on Monday. So that was very cool to see. Yeah, it's gonna be super fun.
It's going to be great. And there were so many people into the draft watching it. And
Yeah.
just here in Chicago, because, obviously, go Sky, Chicago represent.
Sky's up.
Sky's up. It's going to be a much more exciting time than it was last year in Chicago. You got two premier players on this team, and those are kind of the rocks you can build around now going forward. And hey, even if they don't win a championship last year, if they take a big rise, they're in the playoffs, they're competitive, you have something to build upon. I mean, truly, no
Yeah.
matter what, they're going to be worth watching this year. There's no
Yeah.
doubt.
Honestly, it's really. I would be curious to look at like any other sports city, but if you look at the past calendar year, the Blackhawks added a superstar phenom in Connor Bedard. The Sky added one of the most popular college basketball players to ever play the game in Angel Reese, and the Bears next week are going to add probably one of the most popular quarterbacks since in the NIL era. It's just a
And the
phenomenal time.
and the Cubs
Yeah.
got Shota Imanaga.
Yeah, hey, you
And
gotta throw in
Andrew
that Cubs
Shaw
tag.
coming up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great time. I mean, we just unfortunately the Sox and Bulls kind of are just
Yeah,
there.
let's talk about the terrible basketball team that that is going to try to do something stupid tonight. Bulls
Hey,
are
I
they're
going to
in
want
the
them
play
to
again.
lose.
play-in. Come
No,
Do
on.
I
you
want
even
them to
want them to
lose.
win? Do you even
No,
want them to win?
no. I want them to lose because
They don't deserve it.
if they win, they are going to insult our intelligence once again for another summer. They're going to tout their victory against the Atlanta Hawks and be like, "Hey, all we need is Lonzo to come back. We're going to try and get Levine to buy in, and we're going to make a run for it, knowing damn well it doesn't work." So no,
I
I want
can't.
this team to lose tonight, and not even. I don't even want it to be close. I want them to get blown out.
Yeah, I want it to be bad. I want it to be bad.
To me, I think the delusion is already set. I don't think
Yeah,
it matters. The delusion is already established. Whether they win or lose. Last year we won 40 games. Last year we won 39. Congratulations, AK. You get your consistency. And no matter what happens, you know what the excuse is going to be for the 39 wins. Well, we had Zach Levine out half the year. We had Patrick Williams
yeah.
out. We had these injuries and Lonzo Ball,
Zach
Lonzo
Levine,
Ball, Lonzo
Zach Levine
Ball.
got hurt right when we were going to trade him
I know.
Right, right,
for
right.
nothing, for pennies on the dollar. Yeah,
Yeah, but
it's
it
just
is. I
it's
will
so
say.
frustrating. It's so frustrating that
I will say
this is the Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Also, the Levine stuff does have me intrigued. I was reading the Sun Times this week. They essentially were like, the Bulls are going to try and trade Levine again this summer. But as opposed to
For
an
what?
in-season, well, that's the thing. They want to do it pretty much. We'll take your headache if you take our headache. So whether that's Trey Young on the Hawks, whether that's Donovan Mitchell on the Cavaliers, it's going to be a headache. But honestly, I'd rather see a Trey Young added to this team.
I'd
That
take
would at
Trae
least,
Young.
yeah, that would at least be exciting. Than
I'd rather it be
watch,
somebody out west, so we
yeah,
only have to see him twice.
yeah,
Because the
yeah.
minute he leaves, he's going to be all pro again.
Oh,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's going to score 45 points against the Bulls in his return to the
Oh,
United
he is
Center,
going to
and-
be, yeah, he's going to be Mahomes against the Bears every time he comes up to the United
Except
Center.
we actually got to enjoy him some.
yeah.
I just like this team is so frustrating, man. Like
I know.
I want the Bulls to be good so bad. I want to be into it so bad. And the start of the season, I was excited, and so fast I began in this mode that I could just not
Yeah.
care less.
I mean,
Like
they had a
tonight,
players-only
if you
meeting
didn't
after the
tell
first
me,
game.
if you didn't tell me that they were in the playing game tonight, the odds of me not knowing were pretty high.
Yeah,
It
Yeah.
I'm so over it because
yeah,
they're gonna lose or they're gonna win and then lose the next one, and then we're gonna get like the 15th pick, and we're gonna get a dude, and then
yeah.
we're gonna be like, oh, we can make the playoffs again, and then we're gonna be like, oh, maybe we should trade everybody, and then we don't trade everybody, and then we're gonna get the play-on game, and it's just gonna keep going. This is our
They
lives.
haven't made a trade since 2021, which is wild because I've never thought I would see a professional sports team go a season, let alone 3 years, without
Yeah.
making a
And
trade.
even when they made that trade, we were like, holy crap, they made a trade.
Yeah.
And not
Yeah.
not just any sports team, the Chicago Bulls, a big market team like the Chicago Bulls. I mean, think about that.
Historic.
I mean, look at this year. You didn't do a single thing at the trade deadline. You
No.
didn't even try to make the delusional, hey, let's try to make our team a little better. At least last year we picked up Patrick Beverly, which was like
Hey,
whatever,
that
but
was a fun
you did
that was a fun
was
few,
fun. It was a good
games,
time.
yeah.
I liked it.
yeah.
Yeah,
I just
yeah, that's what the Bulls do. They give us like a breadcrumb, like Patrick Beverly. We're like, oh, hey, I'll watch.
Patrick Beverly, Kurt Heinrich,
Yeah, exactly.
like guys like that.
yeah.
Tristan Thompson.
Tristan
Yeah.
Thompson.
Remember when they had
Yeah.
him for a bit?
Yeah.
I actually really like that
I'd even put Drummond in that category. I'm like, hey,
Oh,
I know
yeah.
that name.
I
Exactly,
actually do I like Drummond. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
like
Mm.
Drummond.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
could have traded him for something teams want him, and AK like, no.
Oh,
we
yeah.
want
I mean,
to
and
stay
honestly, like,
consistent."
individually, I love a lot of the players on this team. It's just
Sure.
as a collective, this team just annoys the hell out of me.
Yeah.
You
Also,
can't shoot the three, you don't have size,
Mhm.
can't
Also,
rebound.
DeMar's daughter is not going to be there tonight. So
I know.
What's the
So
point?
That kind of sucks.
what's the point?
Here's the thing that really sucks too when you think about it. If you lose tonight, you're at home tonight. Remember this. You're at home. And I know it's technically not a playoff game, but to me, it's
If you lose, you're out.
postseason. Right.
Yep.
It's postseason. It's past the 82 game schedule. So think about it. The Bulls have not won a playoff game or any postseason game of any form at the United Center since that Derrick Rose buzzer beater in 2015. That was almost a decade ago
That was a
because
fun
then
one.
that
Yeah.
was the last win they had that year. Then they made the playoffs against Boston in 2017. That was when they went up 2-0 on the road in Boston, and then the Celtics woke up and swept the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And then against Milwaukee a few years ago, you
I
lost
was-
in 5 games.
I was at one of the Milwaukee losses when we were down like 40 at halftime.
Yeah.
I got the tickets from my work. And I went with my coworker, and he and I were just sitting there, and we were just watching. And then at halftime, we were like, let's just go to the bar. And so
I don't
we watched
blame
the
you.
rest of the
Good
game at the
Good
bar. Like
call.
they were so bad.
I turned it off. I didn't
Yeah.
watch the second half of that game. I just wasn't that game 3.
It was game 3 because they stole one in Milwaukee.
They did. They stole game 2.
Yes,
Mhm.
and we were like, here we go. We got the home crowd. Everybody's seeing red. And like
Nope.
everybody was like, come in and wear your red, and here we go. And then they were down like 30-0 in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
that was Greek Easter weekend for me. So I'm like, hey, let's celebrate Greek Easter. Oh, the
it
Bulls
was
are
so it was
Yeah.
so bad. It was
yeah.
so bad. Yeah, I hate that team.
But whatever you guys wish for, regardless, just looking at the matchup tonight itself, it's a winnable game. It's a winnable
Oh
game for
yeah.
the Bulls. It's a very winnable game. You're at home. Iodasumu's playing.
Hmm.
So that'll obviously factor in. DeMar DeRozan, he's got to have back cranks after carrying the team on his back so
Well,
many
he's gonna have to
times.
score
And,
like 40 tonight.
right.
Yeah.
And Kobe's
Let
gonna
me
have to be on his game.
Yeah. Let me ask you this while we're talking about Kobe, because he might be one of the answers to this. Will anybody that's on the Chicago Bulls right now be on the Chicago Bulls in, let's say, 4 or 5 years?
Maybe
Maybe Kobe.
Kobe.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
maybe.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only one that I could think of, because I
No.
don't think Io is going to pan out. Patrick Williams better be long gone.
Bulls fans, do not come to me in September and be like, "This is the year Patrick Williams is going to break out."
I'm
Because
over it.
yeah,
It's your dad, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, because and hand up, I was a Patrick Williams guy when they drafted him. Hand up, I called my dad. I'm like, no, you have to understand what Florida State does. They weren't just allowing him to play to his true potential. He's going to be a true two-way player. I hand up, that was me. I bought in, but I could only see so much donuts in the box score next to Pat Williams before I realized this isn't it. And then you know what he does? He usually flashes in the final regular season game where he'll drop like 40 against a team playing their reserves, and everyone's like, all right, next year is gonna be the Patrick Williams year. No, it's not coming.
It's
He's
never
bust.
coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, we would see those occasional flashes, or he has like two good games in a row, and oh, he's turning it around, and then it'll just kind of flop again. And I
Yeah.
was patient with him. I gave him a good like 2 some years. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, when you drafted him, he was 19 years old. He's gonna learn, blah blah blah. But we're on several years now, and it clearly hasn't worked out. And I think that it's just you're at the very most you're going to see a role player, which if he was a
Mhm.
second round pick, okay, but this is a guy you picked fourth overall. It's like
Yep.
you see Iodasumu. I think for a second rounder, overall pretty good,
Oh yeah.
fine role
Mhm.
player, very
Agreed.
fine role player. But is he going to be here in 4 or 5 years? I don't know. I mean, I think he'll have a decently long career, but not 10
Yeah.
plus 15 plus years. I think maybe you're looking at like a 10, 11, maybe 12-year career at most. So
My brother-in-law just texted me. He's doing like his prize picks things where he like picks guys for points and like rebounds and stuff. He was like,
Yeah.
"What do you think?" And it's about the Bulls game. He was like, "What do you think about this?" And I just replied, "I hate the Chicago Bulls."
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my response. That's what I think about.
Yeah.
All right. That was the Bulls. Can you imagine being a Bulls and like a Sox fan and a Bears fan? Just at least we got the Cubs.
Right.
The
I have
Sox
many
Yeah.
are
friends who
the
are one of
Sox are
those.
historically bad. 6 shutout
Yeah.
losses in 16 games. It's the first time that's
Yeah.
happened in over a century. They're like they can't score any runs. It's not funny.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
that's the
funny.
thing. Like, they're not even playing young guys. They're not even playing their prospects. You look at their lineup, it's a bunch of dudes who are, you know, mid 30s with an OPS under 700. And it's like, what are they even doing? And I would like to think, like, thinking back to when the Cubs were rebuilding, at least like at the very early of the rebuild, we had Stalin Castro, we had Anthony Rizzo, we had young guys in the lineup that were like, okay, we're bad right now, but there's at least a couple players on this team that we know are going to be a part of the next contention window. With the Sox right now, you look at their lineup, there's no one. I mean,
There's
Why are
nobody.
you
And there's
playing Marty Maldonado? Why are you playing Kevin Pillar?
right,
Why are you playing Robbie Grossman? I mean, Marty Maldonado My friend was texting me earlier today. He's like, "Is Martin Maldonado the worst position player in baseball?" I'm like, honestly, at this point, he probably is.
Yeah. And
It's
the thing you signed him for, he's not even good at framing anymore.
No, he's completely toast when it comes to
Yeah.
defense and framing. That's the one thing he was good at, and he can't do it anymore. He's old and he's got a million miles on him.
Chicago Cubs legend, by the way.
Yes.
Oh
Played
yeah.
like 5 games here.
Will always be a
Um,
fun week.
I have a question. What will happen first? Will the Sox win 10 games or will the Cubs hit 25?
Ooh. I think it's
I was
Cubs
going to say
25.
30, but I didn't want to be super mean.
No, I think it's Cubs 25 because if you look at, I mean, we came into April with like, man, Cubs have a gauntlet of an April schedule, but we're getting out of that gauntlet now. Yeah, we still have the Houston Astros on the schedule this month.
The
but if
A's
you
are
look
in
at,
the better place than the Astros
I was
right
about to
now.
say, if you look at
The Astros don't look great so
I was
far.
about to say, yeah, if
Yeah.
you look at their they're struggling. The Cubs made it out alive through the tough part of the April schedule. Now is when they can feast. So yeah, I think the Cubs get to 25 before. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to be biased, but I do too. Like
Hey.
we're coming out of that and then we go to Boston, but they're dropping like flies in Boston.
They're
And then
banged
we get-
up. They're beatable.
And then we
yeah.
get the Padres at home. And if we shouldn't have lost 2 or 3 to the Padres, but we
No.
did.
Just
Revenge,
don't start hundreds in one of those games.
revenge. And then after that, I think we go to Pittsburgh and then we go to Atlanta. I will be in Atlanta for the first 2. And then Pittsburgh comes to us after that. So with Pittsburgh coming, we got plenty of chances to take hold of this division finally.
Yeah, it's such a weird anomaly with the Cubs schedule in April that they actually don't have a National League Central game until the first weekend in May, I believe, against Milwaukee. So if they can kind of, feast now on the lesser part of their April schedule, they're going to be in a good spot once they do play the teams in the division.
Yeah, you have to win you have to win these coming games. I mean, you don't want to let those go by the wayside. You want to win more than you lose over the next few weeks because, we look at the situation and say, okay, the Marlins are going to be the easiest team, but you never know when they might run into something, but you got to take care of business. And we're not saying the Astros are bad or Boston's bad, but they're very beatable. I mean, would I rather play the current version of
Yeah, they're beatable right now. Yeah.
Right. I mean, would I rather play this version of the Red Sox or would I rather play the Rangers or the Braves? I'd probably take the Red Sox.
No, yeah, same.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm fighting, guys. I'm almost there.
Hey, you're almost
I thought I was going to be gone, but
yeah, it can linger. It can linger.
All right. We every time we talk about the White Sox, it always goes back to the Cubs.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much to talk
There's
about.
nothing to say. There's nothing to say. There really isn't. But we're gonna have this show, and then we have next week's Wednesday before the draft.
Yeah.
We're 8 days away now from having a franchise quarterback for the first time ever.
You guys excited for Drake May?
Well, that's what I'm going to ask is like, of course, we're going with Caleb Williams, but the 2 guys behind us, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, JJ McCarthy.
That smoke is getting thicker with JJ McCarthy.
With JJ McCarthy to the Patriots, right?
I think there's a few teams in on
I've
him.
heard the Vikings trading up to get him.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know.
We want people to trade up, and we want as many quarterbacks taken after 1 and before 9. So when we get to 9, there's as many possible choices.
Pick whatever we want. Yeah.
Right. Whether that's Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, some of those edge rushers. I mean, we want as many available options at 9 as possible because I don't think they're trading back. I really don't.
No.
Let me ask you this. If we get to 9 and Brock Bowers is there, would you take him over a Dunze?
I think the Bears. Funny you say that because there's 2 players that, from what I've read and from what I was able to talk to, at least one guy that's somewhat close. The Bears are locked in on both Odunze and Bowers. So if they get to 9 and both of them are on there, my guess is
'Cause
they probably lean towards Odunze. Yeah.
I would
Bowers
agree.
is an athlete, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, my guess is that they would probably lean towards Odunze. Bowers actually was in town earlier this week for his pre-draft visit. It's gonna be fun, but I do think they are locked on Odunze if he's
Right. Are
Now-
you guys doing anything for the draft?
covering up for the site. So
Just
Uh,
sitting and watching?
yeah, I mean, we've not gonna lie, a little behind the fourth wall. Had the Bears select Caleb Williams post done for like the past month or so.
Just sitting on it.
I mean, we know
just,
it's going to happen.
yeah, just hit send when that selection is officially made. To Alex's point, I think for the Bears, the draft is going to really start in terms of what do the teams behind them do 2 through 8. If the three other quarterbacks go, Bears are going to be in a great spot. And actually, not sure if you guys saw this, but the Commandos, who picked second, decided to have a pro day visit today that included Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, and JJ McCarthy and Drake May all together. And it just reminded me of like something Ryan Pace would do to let's get all these guys together and see who stands out. So
We're going to collaborate together
Yeah.
by
I
watching.
wonder what kind
once-
of what kind of car Penix was driving.
yeah. So for once, I'm glad that like at least the Bears have the top pick in a class where like the top quarterback is known, because I don't even want to think what they would do if they had like the second or third pick and what craziness we would see.
I never thought I'd
Like-
say it, but thank God for the Carolina Panthers.
Hey,
Yeah. George McCaskey would tell Ryan Poles, hey, see which one likes Chicago pizza the most and go with that decision.
Oh no, George
Who would join me
drive-
for Sunday
Yeah,
Mass?
George would drive
Yeah,
to
that's
Michigan
true.
himself to pick up JJ and make sure he was picked. There's no doubt in my mind.
Oy vey. All right. Well, we'll have one more time to talk about it before it happens.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe by this time next week we get a big trade to a team that does move in a spot to get JJ. JJ is going to be the key, because I think for sure Jaden Daniels is going to go 2 through 8. One of those picks 2 through 8. I think for sure Drake May will.
Yes.
If we
Yeah,
can get
JJ
like Alex said, as many quarterbacks
Yeah.
as possible, because
we
Yeah,
just need a
please
team
take the
to
quarterback.
we need a team to move up and get JJ, because then if that happens, Bears going to be in a very good spot.
well,
And
even so, like part of me too is if there's one quarterback left and we're sitting at 9 and somebody wants to pay the whole haul to get number 9 and like give me like first and second round picks in the future, I am not opposed to that.
Yeah, so it would have to be a haul. Honestly,
That's what I'm saying. Like a ridiculous haul of like
yeah, it would have to
this
be
year's
like
first,
a
next year's
Godfather type
first, and
offer,
like
yeah.
and like a
Mhm.
second. Then
Yeah.
like a desperation team going and doing that.
But a
I'm
team
saying
would
yes.
know not to trade with the Bears, right? If you take Caleb Williams, why would they be taking another quarterback?
Also true, unless they're trying to get ahead of because who's 11? Is it the Giants?
11?
Or who's 10? Let me see.
Let me look. I hate Googling during the show.
I
You know I
know.
don't like this, but here we
I
go.
know.
Well, draft order. Sorry, everyone. Bad
Oh, the
podcasting.
Jets. The Jets are 10, so there's no way the Jets would be.
Yeah,
And
they
they
got Aaron
certainly
Rodgers.
need a quarterback because they don't have anybody.
I mean, and you have the Vikings
Good
at
joke.
11. So the only scenario where I would see a quarterback team trading ahead of the Bears would be in the event that JJ is still on the board,
Right.
and,
Well-
the Vikings haven't traded up, because then
But
obviously
it could be that like a team didn't get a deal done with the Jets to trade up to get ahead.
Yeah.
Excuse me, to get ahead of the Vikings. So they're like, oh crap, now we got to go to the Bears. I don't know.
It would have to be a Godfather type offer, because honestly, like I'm so sick and tired of hearing the word haul. The Bears have a chance to add.
Oh, see, I haven't
Two-
talked Bears football in months, so I can say it
No, I
all
know.
day.
No, yeah. I mean, I've only heard it September through the day Justin Fields was traded. But The Bears have a chance.
Haul.
The Bears have a chance to add two legitimate blue chip players with the picks that they currently have. And say what you want about like having to have picks. I think there is value in, say it's Caleb and Odunze. There is value in having a blue chip quarterback with a blue chip wide receiver, both on rookie deals to grow over the next 5 years.
Right. And I mean, think about it. Like, what do you think is potentially more valuable, especially in this dream scenario? Like, would you want a second round pick next year? Or what if Malik Neighbors fell to 9? How could you
Exactly. Yeah.
possibly pass that up?
I'm good. Yep.
You can't.
You can't. Yeah. All right. Well, the only other thing that I have on my list here, the Chicago Blackhawks. No notes. Have a great summer. Get the number 1 pick.
Oh, Frank Nazar.
Oh,
yeah.
yes. I'm sorry.
He is going to be a stud.
Great. Go get another one in the draft.
And then maybe bring in a few guys for next year on the NHL team because you need it. Because it's very clear Connor Bedard needs more around him. And
Okay.
next year, you're not going to be a Stanley Cup contender, but you need to take a step forward as a team.
And you need to win on December 31st at 5 p.m. at Wrigley Field.
Yes.
By the way, show outing. I say we all go.
Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah.
I've wanted to go, so
yeah.
We'll talk.
I have it circled on my calendar.
There you go.
Calendar.
Yeah. All right, that's all I got. What do you got, boys? I got to stop talking before I die.
Feel like the NBA just casually pushed aside the betting scandal. Like, hey,
they just banned him for life.
Yeah.
They're
Hey,
like,
don't look at us. We're just going to ban him for life. Okay, guys, enjoy the rest of these games. Talk to you later. When I think other sports leagues are like, wait a second, what's going on? Because I think
I feel like it would have been a bigger deal if it was a bigger player.
Well, and that's the thing. So, like, it probably isn't a huge deal because, like, it's not like the Shohei Ohtani equivalent in the NBA. But, like, still, if it's happening here, chances are it's happening in other locker rooms. But
it has to be. It has to be.
No.
By the way, this NBA release was sponsored by DraftKings.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what's so fun about these news stories. It's like, oh, let's go to our FanDuel lounge to hear what they had to say about this player being suspended for gambling.
The Bulls are about to host a play-in tournament, and the United Center has a sports book now. So people can sit on Twitter and read about it in the sports book, drinking a $20 cocktail.
I mean, it's like when a sad story comes on the news and it like ends it to go to a commercial break, and then you get whopper.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
Cripes. All right, boys. Good episode.
Yeah.
What are we looking forward to in the next week? I'm gonna go first, so nobody steals mine. Kyle Hendricks. 4 innings pitched, 2 strikeouts, only 4 hits, and 1 run.
It's funny the way you said that. You're like 4 innings, 2 strikeouts.
Like you had to talk yourself into it. Yeah.
Well, I was trying to stop myself from saying no hitter through 6. Bullpen takes it over.
No.
Oh, jeez.
The Marlins are not good.
Yeah.
They did beat the Braves, but they are not good.
They did have a win against the Yankees, but
we've always had a problem with them, though. Like even when they were bad, I feel like
we always have a problem with the Marlins.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't think they're good, but I think they're better than what they are right now.
Garrett Cooper revenge weekend. That's what it is.
And hey, if you're a Sox fan, you get to see Jake Berger and Tim Anderson. So come on
down.
down.
Berger hurt.
Oh, well, guess what? You don't get to see Jake Berger.
Well, don't quote me on
just
that.
got done being hurt too, or he was sick.
Right. Well, so if you're a Sox fan, it's literally what you saw.
I'm changing it. No more Kyle Hendricks. Gary Cooper revenge weekend. At least 2 home runs.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
I will go. I will go. Patrick Wisdom has a homer in his first game back.
Electric.
I'm going to say a big DeMar DeRozan winner in the playing game tonight.
There we go. Debo. I'm back in.
It's gonna be a little
100%.
eye drop with about 4 seconds left to seal the win.
And for 5 seconds, I'll be back in.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for watching.
Go Bulls.
This was us. This was Through the Garden. Like and subscribe and all the things.
Yeah.
Please do.